Before the name, there was a pause. Before the books and the legends, the statues on the stems, there was only a child listening to the wind cross the courtyards of Balkh. A child who learned that sound can be a road, and that roads, if you keep walking them, become prayers. His father taught him scripture. His mother taught him tenderness. The traders taught him the creak of saddles and the grammar of distances. In the night taught him to listen. This is the story of Jalāl-Dīn Rūmī, a man born into a century torn by flame and hoof and empire, a man who learned the way to books and then lit them with love until the pages turned into wings. It's the story of a scholar who became a singer, a jurist who became a dancer, a teacher who became a traveler without map, and of a traveler who, one day, discovered that the destination was not on the road, but inside the heart that walked it. No story of Rumi begins without the clatter of caravans and the room of danger. Mongol dust on the horizon, families packing up their histories, fathers taking sons by the hand and saying, "We must go." But neither does any story of Rumi end with loss. Loss is not a wall here, it's a door. He will show us how grief is the chisel that frees the figure sleeping inside the stone. How longing is not a shortage, but a river whose overflow irrigate fields you didn't know you could harvest. You will hear Shams of Tabriz, the sun in a human clock, and how two flames recognized each other, burned each other, remade each other, and then were carried apart by the wind, leaving behind a sky that had learned how to keep the fire. You will hear of Konya, where the streets are small and the heart are wide, where goldsmith's hammer beats into the afternoon until its collar begins to sway, and the sway grows legs, and the legs remember the circle drawn by the planet, and the circle remembers God. This is not only a biography, it's a journey through the chambers of a heart that discovered its own architecture by traveling through love and separation, law and improvisation, silence and song. We will move slowly. We will pause in certain rooms of his life and strike a match, not to shout, "Look at him," but to notice what his light teaches about being human, about the ways we are cut and the ways we are mended, about the beauty of an earth where strangers become friends, and friends become mirrors, and mirrors at last become windows. Listen, the reed flute is being cut from the reed bed again. It's the oldest beginning. The knife is sharp, the reed is willing. What comes next is a sound the world has been waiting for since it learned how to breathe. Let us walk into that sound together. Balkh is dust and learned man, grapes and argument, silk in the marketplace and verses in the air. Rumi is a boy with a gaze too wide for his face. The son of Baha'u'ddin Walad, a respected scholar whose books smell of leather and dawn. He grows up among the ink pots and the whispering pages, among questions that sit like elders in the corner, nodding when you greet them and remaining when you leave. People come to the house and leave, carrying answers that will become tomorrow's questions. In the afternoon, he watches swallows write their small bright script across the sky. He imagines each bird as a letter in a sentence nobody has fully read. The city itself is a library. The baked bricks are stacked volumes. The alleys are margins for the cat's soft commentary. The mosque is a binding that holds the day together. He learns the grammar of courtesy, the syntax of respect. He memorizes scripture with the careful hunger of a boy who realizes early that words can be bred. But even then, there is another schooling. Wind in his ears, the flow of feet in the bazaar, the eyes of the poor, the patience in his mother's hands as she shells almonds. The world is not only studied, it is overheard, and the boy begins to understand that God speaks in more than one language, in Arabic and Persian, yes, but also in oven heat and donkey breath, in the cool relief of a courtyard fountain, in the kindness of a neighbor who shares figs without counting them. At night, his father points at the stars and says, "Names are ladders, climb them, but do not mistake the ladder for the moon." The boy nods. He does not yet know that one day the moon will come down into a human body named Shams and rearrange his tides. He does not yet know that books too are ladders, and that love will one day show him how to fly without any rank at all. For now he's a child. He recites, he listens, he learns that humility is the handle of the door to knowledge, and that arrogance is the lock that keeps it shut. He does not yet feel the door turn under his palm, but the returning or the turning has already begun. Storms take many shapes. Sometimes they are weather. Sometimes they are men on horseback. The Mongol winds rise and Balkh trembles. One dawn, the family wraps their life into pound bundles and thrusts the keys of their house into the silence. "We will return," someone says. Everyone hears the sentence crack. Across Nishapur, Damascus, Baghdad, and the roads between, the Walad family travels like a small caravan of memory. Rumi's scandal, all sandals learn the syntax of distance. Along the way, in Nishapur, a poet named Attar looks into the boy's face and seems to recognize a map. This child, Attar says, will light a furnace that will warm the centuries. The words are not recorded in any official book, but they sink into the air around the boy like a fragrance. Years later, the fragrance will come or will become a fire. Exile is a teacher with two hands, in one a wipe, in the other a cup. The wipe strikes the heart and says, "See how quickly a house becomes a past tense." The cup offers sweetness, strangers become friends. The world proves larger than fear, and the night skies of different cities reveal the same patient star. Rumi watches his father answer questions in every place, and he learns that knowledge is not a country, it's a way of traveling. He sees the poor in different alphabets, the generous in different dialects. He sleeps under ceilings that cough, dust at the first rose to cry, and the others so ornate they seem to be rehearsing paradise. He learns to say thank you in voices that do not belong to his childhood. He learns the mathematics of compassion for every pain removed from your own back. remove two from another's. What is taken in exile? Familiar street, neighbors' names, the ordinary comfort of knowing which step creaks on the stairs. What he's given, a wide horizon, a suitcase of questions, a map on which love will later draw its bright red circle and write, here, exile teaches him the line that will pass through the rest of his life. Wherever you go, go with your whole heart, or you have not moved at all. The open hand of Anatolia receives them. Konya is both village and capital. Goat bells and courtly manners. A place where the oven speaks and the scriptorium sings. Rumi becomes a scholar as his father intended, and more, a pillar, dependable tree under whose shade disputes cool. He lectures, arbitrates, writes letters of advice with a careful pen. People come to him with questions that chew at their sleep. He answers with patience and law, with citations that fit like keys. In the mornings, he walks through the market. The goldsmith's hammers sound like a heartbeat the city has loaned to its craftsmen. Bakers lean into the hot mouth of the oven and pull out rounds of bread that glow like moons. The butcher lifts his knife and pauses as a cat touches his ankle. The cat will be fed. Rumi notices everything. He pays his debts, speaks kindly to children, and listens twice as long as he speaks. This is not yet the Rumi whose lines will burst like fountains. This is a dam engineer learning water. He teaches boys whose faces shine with eagerness, and men whose faces are calendars of regret. He reads the law like music, and the music like law. In the afternoon, he sits at home, a father now, laughing with his sons, listening to the small stories that weave a day into a tapestry. A lost ribbon, a stubborn goat, a neighbor's baby who fell asleep mid-cry and turned the house into a sudden pond of peace. Konya adopts him. He adopts Konya. There is rumor that a life can stay this way. Stable, admired, useful. He thinks perhaps this will be enough, but love is not finished with him. It has been preparing, a meeting quietly, the way a garden prepares a blossom and the winter. The city hums, the hammers keep time. Somewhere on the road, a man named Shams is walking toward him with a question that will open the sky. On an afternoon ordinary as bread, a stranger steps into Konya, and the day grows extra inches. Shams of Tabriz, wandering dervish, pupil of no one and student of everything, arrives with a gaze that feels like a searchlight and a sigh that sounds like a prayer. Stories multiply that he could see the underside of thought, that he could scold a lie into confessing, that he had been looking for a friend who could keep up with lightning. They meet, the city holds its breath. Who is greater? Shams asks. Muhammad or Bayezid? It's not the words alone, but the way he offers them. As if truth is a fruit you must peel with wonder. Rumi answers as a jurist might, then as a lover will. Something happens. The scholar's rock fills with wind. The world, which had been as neat as a shelf of legal volumes, tips and spills its stars across the floor. People will say, Shams bewitched him. Others will say, Rumi was ready. Shams lit the wick. What matters is what happened to the room. It expanded to include them both, and then it kept expanding until their conversations ran beyond any walls and began to curl around the city like a dawn. They talk of profit and plums, of poverty and the arrogance of humility, of how bread rises and why. They sit in silence until the silence becomes a speech the world has been meaning to give them. At times, the talk is fierce. At times, it's laughter that forgets to end. Each is a mirror for the other, but not the kind that merely copies. The kind that shows you your face as if you were seeing it for the first time. The city grows uneasy. The beloved teacher has disappeared into a sunlit cave with this strange man. Lessons are cancelled. The routine dissolves. Jealousy crouches in corners. Gossip sharpens its knives. A man who belongs to everyone seems sadly to belong to one person only. Love is generous, but it's also demanding. Rumi is learning both sides of its face. He does not yet know how much it will ask of him. He only knows that the heart, once awakened, cannot agree to go back to sleep. There are losses that end the chapter and losses that erase the alphabet. One day Shams is gone. No explanation, only a vacuum where the air used to be. Rumi tears through the city like a man searching for a last breath. He sends letters, scout, hope, nothing. Something inside him is cut so cleanly it takes a while for the body to understand what has happened. When it does, he staggers, turning grief into movement. He circles the streets the way a planet might circle an absence. He listens for footsteps that do not come. He eats grief, drinks grief, breathes grief, until grief becomes a muscle that lifts him into a certain night where he finds oddly a wider sky. He understands that love's first gift is union, and its second gift, the one that carves the deeper bowel, is separation. Union fills you, separation hollows you to hold more. Shams returned once. Briefly, the reunion is a lightning strike that tries to teach the tree how to be thunder. They speak, they burn, they bewilder the city anew. Then, as quickly, gone. Some say murder, some lay he left to protect the flame he had started. The particulars are as clouded as human memory tends to be. The consequence is clear. Rumi is now a garden after fire, black, smoking, and ready to become wild with green. Sometimes he walks the night and hears only the silence. Sometimes the silence returns his steps as sound. I am here, but you must listen in a new place. He learns to close his eyes, to see. He learns to open his mouth and discover that the voice inside has learned to whirl. In the goldsmith's quarter, hammers ring. Rumi passes, and each strike lands like a drum beat in the ceremony he has not yet attended. The lost twist inside him and seeks a shape. He turns once, twice. The body remembers the old distance, the pilgrimage around what you love. The turning becomes a prayer, conducted by gravity, officiated by breath. His students stare, passers-by stop. The city listens with its knees. The reed flute begins to speak, or perhaps it was speaking all along, and now he has become fluent in its loneliness. I was cut from the reed bed. The reed sings, and my song is the ache of remembering where I belong. Rumi hears his own separation in that sound and feels a bridge being built over the ache. He turns and the bridge lengthens. He turns and the bridge becomes wide enough for anyone's grief to cross. He teaches the turning as a way to polish the mirror of the heart. One hand open to the sky to receive, one hand open to the earth to give. The body an axis around which the generosity of the world can spin. He becomes a conductor of music no instrument can own. He discovers discipline inside ecstasy, the law inside love, the center inside motion. The jurist does not disappear. He is transformed. Law becomes rhythm. Rhythm becomes obedience to the way atoms themselves are dancing. In this, he's not escaping his sorrow. He is metabolizing it into praise. He becomes a worker in the factory of a wonder, converting one kind of fuel into another, grief into compassion, absence into presence, abandonment into hospitality. The goldsmiths keep time. The city learns a new weather. Even the skeptics find themselves swaying, as if their resistance were a tree and the wind had finally won, an argument nobody meant to have. Words return, not as fences, but as fields. The Masnavi begins to pour through him, 6 volumes of parables and jokes, argument and lullabies, court cases and kitchen gossip. All of it stitched with a thread bright enough to see by in the dark. It tells the story of a lion and a rabbit, a reed flute and a lover, a parrot who pretends to be dead to escape a cage. He speaks in the language of travelers and mothers and shopkeepers, because God belongs not only in the high rooms, but in the daily ones, where bread is sliced and tears are hurriedly wiped with the back of the hand. He does not lecture, he invites. He does not threaten, he beckons. He does not punish, he reveals. In every tale, a door. In every door, a friend. In every friend, a reminder that the friend has been waiting inside your chest with a patience that would humble mountains. Rumi loves in his pages, weeps in them, counsels kings and children with the same phrase, be kind and keep walking. The world reads and discovers that holiness can be a bowl of soup carried carefully across a crowded room. Shams of Tabriz, student and confident, holds the lamp as the words arrive. Sometimes Rumi dictates by walking. Sometimes he falls silent for days and then unlocks a river with a shrug. The scribe keeps up. The community feeds the scribe. The book becomes a village that erects itself as it is being written. When one story ends, another taps its foot on the threshold. Eager, the poet smiles and widens the door. Salah ad-Din, the goldsmith, Shams of Tabriz, the faithful, Sultan Walad, a devoted son. and so many others. Constellation gathers. They do not always agree. Love does not guarantee convenience. They keep turning together, keep eating together, keep arriving or carrying each other's sorrows on alternating shoulders. Rumi watches them and sees proof that God prefers circles to towers. Circles share, towers hoard. Circles have a center anyone can touch if they step inside. He teaches that companionship is not an ornament, but a road. When a brother falters, you become his crutch. When you father, sister becomes your cane. They practice generosity until it becomes not as an act, but a gravity. Outsiders wander in and find that being welcome is sometimes the first miracle. The ovens publish their warmth, and the city edits the distribution with the ink of laughter. Rumi's Konya is not an abstraction. It has a smell. Breath, horse sweat, rose water, rain on copper. Here the rules of mercy must pass their exam. He bargains with the seller and overpays on purpose, then smiles as if he has stolen a kindness from his own pocket and smuggled it into the world. He lets himself be interrupted by chicken. He answers the rough with gentleness that does not break. He turns enemies into neighbors by asking about their mothers. He visits the sick as if searching for a lost passage in a beloved book. He sits with the grieving and does not hurry the silence. He looks at the sky and thanks it for remembering how to be blue after a hard winter. And when he teaches like a baker. Flour everywhere, yes, but by evening there is bread. Age arrived on padded feet, a respectful guest, carrying both flowers and a mirror. Rumi looks into the mirror and sees not a face retreating but a light concentrating. Illness comes like weather that insists. He accepts the blanket, he accepts the curb. He does not accept despair. The city, which once held its breath when Shams arrived, now holds its breath at his bedside. He looks at them and tries, even now, to teach relief. He calls death a wedding night, the union of the soul with the beloved it has been studying across a veil. He's not reckless with the grief of those who love him. He knows the tearing. He speaks softly, cry, tears wash the windows. He reminds them that the friend disperses to become the air. We keep breathing. He tells his sons to be gentle with themselves and rough only with their arrogance. He tells his student that humility is a hammer that can make any lock confess. On a cold December in 1273, he leaves as he once arrived, through a door everyone will one day use. The city erupts into a procession the size of its gratitude. Muslims, Christians, Jews, wanderers of no book and every book, they come, not because he explained God, but because he embodied the way of walking toward God that looked like kindness. The night is cold, the procession is warm. They carry him and are carried. Above them, the sky thinks of Shams and smiles. A life like this does not stop, it overflows. His son Sultan Walad gathers the stream into channels that can irrigate centuries. Melville order forms, not as a museum, but as a way to keep the turning turning. The circles ripple outward into time. Languages trade his verses like gift at a festival. Painters read him with their brushes. Musicians read him with their hands. Lovers read him with the rest of their lives. He becomes Rumi to many and remains Jalāl to those who were near enough to hear his laughter. In every age, new griefs arrive that need old remedies. His remedy remains love that does not excuse harm but burns it. Love that needs arrogance until it yields into breath. Love that risks bewilderment and receives in return a sky. People argue about fact, about date and details, as people always will. The poems do not argue. They continue speaking the sentence he spent his life learning to pronounce. Open. You have been listening, perhaps with your hands resting, perhaps with your eyes closed the way a field closes itself to become rain. What now? Rumi would ask you not to adore the story as if it were painting behind glass. He would ask you to step into it with your boot muddy from your own life. Where is your Shams, the friend who burns, bruises, and blesses you into a larger self? Where is your Konya, the place where your gift meet the market and try to be useful? Where is your reed bed, the community you were cut from and must learn to sing for? He would not demand a dance from you, but he would suggest a circle of gratitude, of apology, of bread passed around the table until the last person has eaten and the first person has learned patience. He would remind you that law and love are not enemies. Law is love's instrument, tuned and cleaned. Love is law's soul, warm and risk-willing. He would not be ashamed of your brokenness. He would call it a door and ask who you might invite through it tonight. If an ache woe while you listen, do not be afraid. Ache is proof of presence. Longing is the lantern you carry into rooms where the electricity has failed. Keep it lit. Walk slowly. Turn when you forget to. Sing if you cannot find the right words. Make tea, share it. If you have nothing else, share your listening. If you have more than you need, remember the market where kindness was always a bargain. What can we carry from this hour? Not a statue of a saint, not an argument that wins the room, not the smug safety of certainty. We can carry a bowl. Rumi made it for us from the clay of grief and the water of joy. It's not a perfect bowl. Perfection is for gods and porcelain, but it holds. In it you can pour your anger until it cools. You can pour your pride until it thins. You can pour the simple soup of your day, the errands, the disagreement, the small mercy you almost withheld, and you can watch how, when you hold it with both hands, even ordinary broth becomes sacrament. Rumi's life teaches that the heart is a workshop where even ruin can be repurposed. Shams' vanishing was not the destruction of the temple. It was the removal of the roof so the sky could enter. The law books did not burn. They learned to sing. The city did not lose its scholar. It gained a neighbor whose door never shut. A baker of meanings who gave away each loof heart. Do not try to become Rumi. The world already has one. Become the you that listening to him reveals. The you who insists on tenderness in a brutal noon. The you who humbles your certainty until wisdom can sit beside it. The you who tells the truth with a voice that does not need to crash anything to be heard. Become a turning, not dizzy, but centered. Not escaping, but gathering. Not fleeting the world, but cradling it. With one hand open to receive, one hand open to give. When you finish this story, let it continue. Walk to your kitchen, pour water, drink it as if it were a verse written for your throat. Step outside, listen for hammers, for reed flute, for the market if there is no music. Make some, a kindness counted out like a beat, a forgiveness released like a bell. The sun is somewhere. If you cannot find it, become it for a moment and see who warms. And when the hour closes and the final words fold themselves like birds settling onto a lake, let this be the last listen you rehearse in your chest. Love is not an opinion, it's a way of moving. Rumi moved that way until the earth learned his steps and begun, miraculously, to feel softer underfoot. May we move that way too, not because we understand everything, but because we have chosen at last to be kind.